What's going on, guys? God bless you. Carlos here with Serrano's Mobile Detail in Dallas, Texas. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. Today I'm actually very excited because we are doing a overspray removal. And the point of this video is, what do I use when it comes to overspray removal? That's truly the main subject of today's video, but we are also going to be doing the interior as well. Customer just added the interior, so we are also doing a interior detail. Overall, the condition of this vehicle is, the interior I'd say is about a good 8 out of 10. Very well maintained, but the exterior is what really needs the attention. So let's get all set up and let's get started with this video. So one of the tools that I love to use, that I also carry besides my my rack company Air Blaster or the Air Blaster Plus, is having one of these style of guns. The reason I like this better than those thin ones is because this one will give me like really a maximum airflow, like a big hit as once. So I love to use this in between the seats to remove everything really quickly, where those types of tools like the Vortex, the Tornadors, those don't fit. This does an amazing job in really giving you a high flow of air and really getting the job done kind of like in one trigger pull. So this has been probably one of my most favorite tools. It's very old as well. All right, for this next phase, guys, we are strictly going to be using rinseless and steam. That is always my preferred method when cleaning vehicles that are not dirty, cleaning vehicles that do not need a lot of vegetation. Steam is gonna be your best friend. So we're using the Chief Steamer, which I'll be having a really in-depth review very soon. I'm still playing with it, but before you guys ask what steamer is that, I recently switched over to a Chief Steamer. My Aqua Pro finally took a crap, and I had to make a quick decision as to what could be my next tool, and I ended up getting a Chief Steamer. So we're gonna steam everything really well. Usually I'll go with steam and a very soft brush, such as a Max Shine brush, like there looks like a makeup brush, because these vehicles have a lot of just high quality material. So the last thing you want to do is kind of damage the material. So always use a very soft brush for your vehicle. So especially if you're working with Mercedes. How I clean leather seats when they're in really good condition, such as this Mercedes, is I initially start with steaming. You want to steam the seat really well, warm it all up, and then you're going to come back, and then I tend to use my rinseless product. Today we're using Drive Auto Appearance, and we just pretty much use rinseless all on the interior, leaving you a very nice and like satin finish, nothing greasy, nothing oily like that, because the customer doesn't want any type of chemicals on it. So that's the way I do it. So steam first, and then we'll come back with our Vortex, with our rack company Air Blaster Plus, and we'll just remove all the grime. All right, we're pretty much almost to the end of the interior detail. Last thing we want to do is obviously the carpet extraction phase. We're going dry upholstery method, not a lot of chemical into the carpet. So first thing you want to do is obviously vacuum the carpet really well, and then you're going to follow it by you're going to steam it really well, and then you're going to use your rack company Air Blaster Plus or Vortex air tool. I tend to really love this one because I can put my product in here that I'll use for extraction. Right in here, obviously I have the Flex Bio Brake, just to give it a little bit of cleaning power. You don't need a lot, and then obviously when you pull the trigger, the product is coming out. But as well, I call that we're blending everything in. After you do your steaming and all that, you come back with your air tool, and as it's spinning, you're pretty much blending the fibers kind of to its new condition. So that's just the way I do it. I know there's many other ways, but this way has helped me tremendously when it comes to doing interiors. When it comes to the mats, especially when we're working on Mercedes, you have this area here that is not like the other style of mats that have like, you know, like a vinyl down here, and then this is mostly carpet. So when working with mats, especially Mercedes, you don't want to introduce a lot of water, if that makes sense. So to keep your mat washing very simple, the first thing you want to do is obviously blow your mat to remove all the debris, all the dust, lift everything off, right, as best as you can. The more dust you see not coming out, the better it's going to be for you. That gives you just lets you know that you're good to go, right? And then the next thing you're going to do is you grab your steamer, and you're going to steam this mat like 4 times. Usually I do one side like this, I'll turn it around, and then I'll turn it around, and I'll turn it around. That way I get a nice steam and coverage all over this mat. Once I finish doing that, we're gonna grab our Rack Company Air Blaster Plus tool, and we are going to blow, but at the same time give it some product. And obviously, like we said, that's going to just revive the fibers, bring the color back to the mat, taking them from a dull kind of like a dull black to more of a nice black finish. And that is how I do the mats. And one of the last things I did not tell you guys was about the new For Real. This is the Hammerhead. So shout out to For Real for sending me this. And this is what I use to kind of vacuum the carpets, but kind of just give them that new look with just swiping it down. It just gives me that finish that I like on the mats. I'm not really using it for like pet hair removal. I'm mostly using it to blend all the fibers back. So shout out to Buff Bright Products for sending me a couple items. This is one of the items that was in that gift set that they sent me. So thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. Couple items you are going to be needing for overspray removal, which the traditional way is always having a medium grade clay bar, such as this one right here, which is the mild, very light overspray removal of contaminants, right? If you're ever dealing with some very harsh like overspray, it is rough, usually you'll go with your aggressive clay. Whenever I do use the aggressive clay, I kind of look at it as a 2-step clay system. So I'll start with this one, and then I'll come back with the mild, just to kind of smooth everything out prior to doing the correction or the enhancement or whatever you got to do. A couple things I should tend to carry is the Rust-Oleum. This is a lacquer thinner. This is pretty much removes some overspray, not all of it. I've had more success with paint thinner, right? When do you use these? Honestly, very rarely will I use these chemicals here. It's great to have them as a source of just helping you remove overspray. Obviously, once you get into using these types of chemicals, you always have to polish a car, right? So that is always left to your kind of discretion, right? If you want to use paint thinners, lacquer thinners, any type of solvent, just know that you have to come back and polish. Obviously, the key is to have your paint always lubricated. The better lubricated your paint is, the better it's going to help with the finished product. Obviously, not leaving anything like marring on your paint. So those are the types of things I tend to bring to the table whenever I'm working with overspray removal. So let's get back to cleaning this car. So what I'm doing now is the claying stage. What we're using today for the clay is Clay Magic Blue, and I am doing my wash mitt process, where I will agitate first, and then I'll follow it up with my wash mitt. Quick tip: whenever you're doing overspray removal, just know that usually, the majority of the time, if you get lucky, it's only one side that gets pretty heavily contaminated with overspray. Thankfully for this one, the customer was parked, so I got mostly the overspray is all on the driver's side. The passenger side is actually very, very minimal. So I'm cleaning the windows with the clay bar, and then any corners that I can get, I'm gonna come back with a razor blade and do it very lightly to take it off. So we'll come back and hit with the razor blade. Of course, on the paint, the goal is to remove it off with the clay bar. And obviously, if this overspray was hard to remove, I did have a heavier grade clay bar, which is what you would use in your worst case scenarios. But for this scenario, we are making ground. And lastly, before I return the customer, I always I want to look at how slick this paint is now. Now we have protection. We removed all the overspray, but I like to see what is, just to make sure, obviously, how this paint looked before. There was a lot of overspray. As to now, what you guys are seeing is just a magnified condition of the paint now. We have removed the majority, well, we have removed completely the overspray, but now we have really that metallic flakes that we're trying to get. So whenever working with a car like this, it's always hard, especially because the color was like, I don't know, it was just hard. And then the paint was kind of reddish, had a little bit of everything, but obviously now we pretty much got it all done. All right, and we are pretty much almost to the finish stages. Obviously, this was a overspray removal with like a sealant, spray sealant. Many call it a clay and seal package. So that's exactly what this is, the clay and seal. And after I clayed the whole vehicle, we are now applying my favorite spray topper that as a standalone, you'll get a good 6 months out of it, which is ceramic gloss. And this is by far my favorite, just slick, so slick. And I will also do that to the glass. When it comes to Mercedes, usually their glass is already, there's some sort of like a coating that they put on there. But as always, anything you clay, you just gotta make sure that you go over it with something to at least give it that protection. And we'll just do this on the whole car. Then I'll probably drive it out here to the sun to do a sun check on it, make sure that he can clearly see out of that front windshield. All right, yeah, we are almost to the finish line, but quick tip, whenever you're doing overspray removal, if you are in the shade and you think you got it, always pull it out to the sun. Let the sun do the work for you. So one of the main things that we had on this vehicle was a lot of overspray on the glass. So now that I finished it, I will usually have this is some rinseless wash solution, and I have, this is a Hart razor blade dedicated strictly for glass, and what I will do is I will just go ahead and kind of clean up this glass a little bit more. When you're using the right products, at least with a glass blade, you can feel safe that you are not going to scratch the glass, because you are using a dedicated glass cleaner, and you don't have to worry about like scratching the glass. So it's very important to always have the right tools for the job, and every once in a while just kind of clean your blade out a little bit and then go back at it. Usually having a wet glass is gonna help glide your blade a little bit better, or much better, to be honest. Hey guys, we are finally done with this project. Phase one was the interior detail. That came out really well. It didn't need a lot of attention, but we did steam clean everything, and obviously you guys saw, you're gonna see a little bit of the after, how the interior turned out. Obviously customer didn't want no conditioners, nothing like that, strictly steam clean and wiped off, right? And then we followed into our exterior phase, which was a clay barring stage, where we clayed this vehicle, removed all the overspray, any contaminants that the paint could have had prior. We removed all of that, and we finished it off with ceramic gloss for the protection as a standalone product. Overall, this thing came out so nice. You're gonna see the little bit of the gloss on how it looked. And then on the glass, we clayed and then obviously moved around to the sun, so I could see really how that glass looked once we finished it. They still had little minor speckles, so I wanted to make sure, and we got all of that completely, where we used a razor blade on that by using a dedicated glass blade. So we did that on the front windshield, pretty much everywhere. And we also polished the pillars. The pillars were bothering me, and honestly sometimes it's better to just polish the pillars out, so it can really make this car stand out completely. And you're gonna see a little bit on the after how well that pillar looks, right? So now the exterior looks really well. The paint, you're gonna see just a finish look on it. The paint came out really well. No blemishes, nothing like that. And with the pillars now corrected, this thing looks so beautiful. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of this video. If I don't do a video before Christmas, Merry Christmas, guys. Happy holidays. You know, I hope all of you detailers get a gift you've been wanting, right? So anyways, you guys have a blessed day, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.